been an initiator with the Institution Innovation Council of D.Y. Patil University School of Pharmacy on the topic of entrepreneurship.
Good morning, whether or not present here. Let us put our hand together to welcome Mr. Anirudh Fegde, our today's guest, our guest speaker. But today we are signing one memorandum of understanding that is called as MOU with his organization Beta Algorithm. We had already done that MOU earlier also, and after that certain activities were conducted. Now our first batch of bachelors is passing out this year. So we look forward, and also we are starting the master's program in 2024, academic year 24-25, masters in pharmaceutics or some other more branches. So based on that, this MOU is going to really, give a lot of benefit to our institution. You will be, trained there. You will be visiting his facility. You will be, So let us thank Mr. Anirudh that he has agreed. His organization has agreed to sign an MOU with the D.Y. Patil University School of Pharmacy, and this is our 6th MOU in the current new year, that is from 1st January 2023. Thank you so much, and let us keep doing good work in the future. Thank you.
It's my privilege to introduce to you our today's speaker, the vibrant personality, Mr. Anirudh Fegde. He is a seasoned professional with a diverse educational and work background. After completing an M.Pharm degree, he went on to work in the excipient industry as a business development professional for over a decade. Alongside his work, he also completed an MBA degree, further honing his business skills. Under his and his partner leadership, the company has gained a reputation for its innovative solutions and commitment to excellence. He is a passionate and driven individual who strives to make a positive impact in the world, dedicated to pushing the boundaries of what is possible, both in their business and professional life. When not working, he enjoy traveling, reading, and spending time with their families. Now, handing over the platform and mic to Mr. Anirudh Fegde for taking the session ahead.
And ask one riddle, okay? So there was this competition a few weeks back. The competition was to hold something, and surprisingly, the winner was a handicapped person. He had no arms and no legs. Can you quickly answer what he was holding? Any guesses? Throw away wild guesses. Don't Google it. I'll answer it. He was holding his breath.
Full screen. Thank you.
Am I still audible to you? So we will start with this. I have made some slides for you. We will start. What was my inspiration to start this business? Then some guidelines for starting a business, my current organization, and lessons I have learned, and some future plans. I'll share it with you. So what was my inspiration? Frankly speaking, when I started thinking over what was actually my inspiration, I came to realize that there was no one instance of inspiration for me. It was eventually a very long process for me. So I always had this business pida in me since beginning. I recall this because my first business was a library, probably when I was in 6th standard. I used to read a lot of comic books, so in summer vacations. I used to live in a government colony, so we already had a lot of friends there. So in summer vacation, I used to arrange a library for my friends where they used to rent out my comic books. So for me, probably that's the first business I ever started in the sixth grade. One uncle inspired me. Now you have to imagine this goes way back, like maybe 25 years. People generally don't leave government job, correct? It's called the most secure jobs. So I used to stay in a government colony, and this uncle, he left a government job and he started a business. So at that time, it was like so surprising that a person is leaving his job, a government job, a good paying government job, and starting a business. So probably in my life, he is also one of the inspiration for me to start a business because I used to get attracted to the people towards people who had their own businesses. There is a very funny story in my life. I don't know if you know this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Probably many of you must have read it. I read it when I was studying my MPharm. I was in my masters. So when I completed this book, I realized to start a business, I should know what sales is. You have to understand, guys. There was no one to guide. There was no YouTube at that time. You cannot just go and ask someone. That was not the era at that time. Eventually, you had to learn everything through the books. So I read this book. I came to a point that okay, I need to learn sales. So how to learn sales? I don't know how I landed. Sorry, how I landed one job. So I gave an interview, okay, that I wanted to learn sales badly. I was just completing my master's. I went to their office. Their office was very happening place. So as soon as you entered, they didn't had a formal office. There was loud music and all. People were running around here and there. So I found it very cool that okay, they have something different. They interviewed me and they said, okay, this is your first day. I was excited, okay, because I was going to learn sales. So I had got all these new formal clothes and all. So they took me for a training. He took me outside. He took me from Andheri. Andheri, it was the office. We went to Churchgate with one person. We had good food in a hotel. Now again, you have to understand that perspective that eating in a hotel was a big thing for a fresher because at that time it was not that easily accessible. So till this it was going very nice, and I was happy that I was to learn sales. So we had food, and then we both went to Fort area. I don't know if you know, but in Fort, like in one building, there are like hundreds of offices, and each one earning crores. Now, this gentleman who was with me, he was also a young chap. He just barged every offices. He went inside and he just said, मैंने वो आपके ओनर को ईमेल किया था, मेरा अपॉइंटमेंट है, मुझे मिलना है. And he was selling this Tata's phone lines. But for them, sales was on the commission they were selling. But you have to understand, for me, it was very surprising that this fellow is going inside somebody else's offices, entering there, barging there, without any appointment and asking for to sell this Tata or whatever phone line. So for me, this was a sales experience, but eventually I could not understand that concept of sales. I never went back there. But that was a very funny incident for me that one full day. Then my first job, again, this was a very funny incident for me. I'm telling these things to you because how I got inspired and how things took place in my life which eventually led me here. This is a very unique phone during our times. It was one of the costliest phone as well during those times. I don't remember, but it was Nokia. So I completed my MPharm in 2009. I was supposed to go for an interview. Now what happened when I took admission for MPharm first year? There was a notice board saying that there is an opening in a company called Arihat Trading Company, and they used to import export some raw materials. I was very interested because this was something different. This was not a regular production or regular jobs like a R&D which we done regularly. So during my MCOM first year, I noted down their details. And when I completed my master's, I gave them a call. Like 2 years back, I saw your entry there and I would like to interview for your company. So I went there and just day before I had lost this phone. So I had lost this phone and I went for the job interview. I gave them my resume. I did well in the interview and I just left. Now, as soon as I left from the building premises, they started calling me. But because I had lost this phone, they were not able to reach me because it used to take time earlier to have the new SIM card and all. So that was a very dramatic because the owner of the company came running down from the building and asked me to come back again. They would like to someone meet you. And this is how I started my first job working in a trading company. What I did here was networking, market analysis. I did thoroughly in this company. I traveled a lot. I traveled the world. I traveled across India, all R&Ds, because my uh, job was to sell the excipients technically. So I used to meet all R&D people across India and promote them the excipients. During commuting or during the flights and all, I met a lot of CEOs, market heads, finance auditors, startup founders, professor, logistic industries, cosmetic industries, investors. So what I'm trying to tell you is the journey for me started long back. I'm still a very curious person. Whoever sits with me on a train or a bus or a flight, I always speak with them about what their profession is. I like to understand what people do in the industry. And that is how I came to know about the industry also. So this was my first job. Then, when I started working, I got this idea that we should make a sanitizer because sanitizer had just started beginning in that era. So we just made a sanitizer in our room with my friend, which never worked out. My first company was a French media company. Um, what I did was I was working in an exhibit industry. So there are a lot of exhibit manufacturers. We are just not on one platform. So if you want to find MCC, who is manufacturing MCC, there was no platform where you can get all the companies listed down. So I tried doing this, but I never went ahead because one of my Swiss friend, he already had this same idea and he launched it before me. And this is my current organization called Vita Vita Analytics. I'll let you know more about it. So according to me, what are the guidelines if you guys are interested in starting a business? First is why. This played a very important role for me, and I found it about it very recently. So first, you need to answer yourself why you want to start anything, or if you want to do anything in your life, you need to understand or have an answer to it why you're doing it. For me, I'll give you a very good example. So I started going to gym first time in my BCom days. Probably I went only for 1 week or 2 weeks. बॉडी बनाने का तो शौक था बना नहीं पाया कभी but the second attempt was in my masters when I used to stay in Worli. I went to gym again failed. I went there for 15 days every 20 days. Then I started working, so I was in Goregaon. वापस जिम लगाया 1 साल का पैसा भरा 1 महीना गया बाकी 11 महीने नहीं गया फिर वापस कीड़ा लगा कि नहीं जिम तो करना चाहिए when I shifted in Navi Mumbai again paid for 1 year and again I didn't go for an entire year. So again I repeatedly failed, especially for gym. But now since last 6 months I have been doing continuously gym. So the reason why was because I know my why now. I have a diary with me where I note down why I'm going to or why I want to go to the gym. So I wrote it my 5 points, and now I know why I want to go, and now I never miss my gym. So this why plays a very important role if you want to do anything in your life. So even for starting business, first you need to answer yourself why you want to start your business. Then how to get a business idea. Generally nowadays, which apps we use most? We use a lot amount of Ola, Uber, Zomato. These, if you have you wondered that most of the business today, or the service industry, or the tech industry, they solve some or the other problem. So we had problem of hiring cabs, so Ola Uber addressed that. There was no one earlier before Zomato Swiggy, we could not get any food from any hotel. So that gap was identified by Zomato and Swiggy, which they catered. Mini Cosmetic, which is again the same person, Mr. Patel started Mini Cosmetic. If you see their products are very innovative, or he creates a market now by launching for spray. He created a market for perfume, which you can use it on a daily basis. Similarly, white tone powder. So when I'm getting you is you can have business idea by addressing a problem. Any problem in the society which is economical is to solve can be a business idea. Who should do a business? If you ask me, a person who has entrepreneurial mindset, who has this risk-taking ability, because eventually to start a business you need money, and you should have that appetite to put your hard-earned money, savings, whatever you have, दाव पे लगाने का तैयारी चाहिए इसके लिए आपका घर है वो भी मॉर्गेज पे रखना है आपका सेविंग्स भी सब कुछ डालना है then you start a business so that fire you need to have in your belly and that risk taking ability you need to have. I just wanted to give you an example of the industry. So what has happened since I started my business from the industry, many of my friends approach me कि यार मुझे भी कुछ शुरू करना है मुझे कुछ शुरू करना है. What suggestion I give them is don't start a business because you are tired of now working at a job or because you are not enjoying your job. Don't be that mistake. Probably you will fail because you don't have that fire of doing a business. You are just shifting to somewhere else just because your whatever your boss is not good or your salary is not good and you want to do something on your own. What happens now? Most of my friends are in technical role. I mean, they are from R&D, research and development background. And to start a business, if you are an expert in research, probably that is just the 5% of remaining 95%. There are many other things you need to cater if you are really want to do a business. Choosing the right partner is very necessary. My suggestion will be don't choose a partner on the basis of skill set. Now, for suppose you want to start a business, don't choose a friend because he's good in accounts or because he's good in business development or because whatever reason. What will happen eventually? If he fails, you will start pointing fingers and there will be some trouble between the management. So what my suggestion will be always don't choose partner for the skill set, choose for trust. Because trust you cannot get in the market or you cannot hire trust. So if you plan for partners, choose for trust and not for the skill set. Very important. Otherwise you will fight internally. So this is the same thing. Allow partners to make mistakes. Be very forgiving. Don't expect them to act the way you want it. It's like a marriage. Your partners are ultimately like a husband and wife and a whole family. So you have to be very careful with that. Have anybody read Doglaman? Ashlesh Grover's book. Very interesting book. You should read it. Eventually, what you will find out that there was such a fuss about it. Right? In the social media, you must have read. There were a lot of memes about it. So this is what happens when you take your partners on your skill set. Make mistakes. All of us do. All giant companies do. They still keep on doing mistakes. Do not fear mistakes if you are going for a business. Something about my current organization. It is called Theta Beta algorithms. We, as I told you about the business identity, if you want to have a business idea, identify the gap. We identified the gap in pharmaceutical market. There was no one in the market who would support pharmaceutical industry for their troubleshooting. They said, अगर वो कहीं फंस गए हैं तो there was no company who is coming with a solution because it is time consuming, so nobody was interested. We took that challenge and now we provide some niche services to the pharma industry which no one in India provides. So these are some of the services which we provide. Let me tell you this Q1, Q2, that is also called reverse engineering. No one in India is providing this services beside us because it requires some skill set and it really requires some research mind to do that. So there are some, we can identify API particle sizing innovator, we do API SMS, complex studies into. So these are the market gaps which we identified and we started eventually working on it. We also work with DRDO, which is our military research unit. Recently, we went for a meeting at the Navy headquarters in Delhi, and they gave us a problem to us that what happens. For a while, I'll just keep this. So when we went to DRDO, they gave us a problem statement. The problem with the Navy ships, our Indian Navy ships was, when they are sailing for a long time, there are many areas in the ship which you cannot reach by hand. So suppose if there is some water stagnant there for a long time, because there are a lot of pipes and a lot of machinery in the ship. So if you cannot go there, hello, yeah. So when we went to this Navy headquarters in Delhi, they saw a profile that we are working on where others are not working. So they laid us out a problem statement to us that when the Navy ships are sailing, there are a lot of areas in the ship where water is stagnant and you cannot really reach to that water and clean it up. उसके वजह से क्या होता था कोरोजन होता था because salt water है समुद्र का पानी used to stay there. So we came back, we did our brainstorming, and we came up with a solution. So now we recently supplied them 400 kgs of tablets. The tablet आपको बस खोलना है और वो पानी में डालना है. Basically, it creates a reaction with the water and the surface, and which eventually saves from corrosion. So there are other projects also which we are working with DRDO. If there is a chemical involved, then there are some chemicals which are need to be applied on the state to prevent from the war. So that we are trying to make for DRDO. So where I'm going is we enter in the space where there is no one around. We have identified gaps in urological space in India. So that we are trying to addressing that. We are working on certain drug combination. So certain drugs, if you combine with other drugs, give some benefits. So that we are trying to address. We are working on some innovative nutraceuticals in the product, and we are also working on some patches. Now, few lessons learned from my journey so far is focusing on solution. You will get huge amount of difficulties, but if you keep on focusing on the barriers, you will never reach your destination. So train your brain to focus on solutions only. Because our brain is very good at identifying 101 innovative ways of not doing a certain thing. We need to train our brain accordingly. I personally did this 3.2 CR mistake in my company. I don't know if you saw, there was a viral video. There were some 100 kids running in the football field, and there were three football pro players. And all the 100 kids still could not get the ball for even for 1 second. Because, so where I'm coming is, experience cannot be replaced. What mistake I did was, there was a project from US, and see earlier in the beginning when we started business, we didn't have that kind of fund to hire the heads of department for obvious reason that there is a huge salary you need to pay. So we thought of taking a mid-level person and then treating him like he is the head and asking him to do what a head does. So it was a 3.2 crore project which we eventually had to fail out for a very silly mistake. But where I'm coming is that experience cannot be replaced. You need to have a proper experience also. While starting the business, don't be asset heavy. In the very beginning, don't try to invest or don't try to have everything in your kitty. Go step by step, keep it light, keep your investments light. and start with an intention to have the profit from day one. And you will find once you enter in the business, you will get lot of opportunities. ये भी करता हूँ, वो भी करता हूँ, ये भी करता हूँ. Because you have that field to work. That's why in business you should give it a look. So one is remarkable people, the other is learning from people. It is from PhD level. Hidden brain. I guess you must be knowing Ranveer Anavadia. He's quite famous on social media. Knowledge world. And these are some of the recommended books you should start with. So since business, I got myself some changes. Now I wake up every day at 5 o'clock. I do meditation. I read books. I watch TEDx video, and then I prepare for my day that what needs to be done today. So this is what my journey looks like. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, be comfortable with the paper. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions for me, I'm there. Thank you.
Guys, any questions?
I'm there on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, if you want to ask, you can ping me on LinkedIn. I go with the handle on Anirudh, or you can look for Beta. You can find it there. The LinkedIn.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I would request Dr. Ganesh sir to felicitate our speaker. Come to the end of this lively gathering. Prior to wind it up, on behalf of organizing committee and the audience, I thank the speaker of the day for all the valuable info they shared with us to this present time. I also like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. Rakesh Somani sir, for his guidance and moral support. I thank our faculty coordinator, Dr. Harish Kundekar sir. I am happy to express a vote of thanks to our staff and the backup state support bodies that has made the seminar a grand success. Once again, I thank you all present over here. Thank you so much.